Hey everybody, it's Ruben Loewen. It's Monday here at the Northwest Houston office at WSB and WFG, and today's been a pretty good day. All right, started off, got my appointment got postponed from like 9 o'clock in the morning to like 3:30 in the afternoon. Then I'm like, okay, so I called Bernadette. Like, what do you do? She said, well, I started talking to other people, right? And then this other somebody comes in. I hadn't recognized her before. Start talking to her, and she used to be um, what does she do? Um, Investment banking, and she had kids and stay at home mom, and she started doing this. And her husband's in real estate, and so I'm like, oh yeah, let me tell you how to talk to him. And so I started giving her, telling her, how I talk to real estate mortgage professionals, right? And and she's writing it down, man. She's writing it down, right? Then we start talking about marketing, right? And what she's good at, what she likes to do, right? And the people that do the things you like to do, usually they come from the same walk of life, they communicate the same way. Um, it's a lot of good information, right? And then I started, oh yeah, she's like, people, they don't listen, they think they're smarter than you. I'm like, oh yeah, I ran into that, right? And I told her, I said, out of hundreds of people I've talked to, I probably come across two that knew the uh, the contribution limit for a Roth IRA, and she's like, "Oh, really?" And then what else was I talking to her about? Oh, yeah, and then her husband does commercial real estate. That's what that is, right? So, oh yeah. So I told her about this guy I knew in San Diego who was a retired naval officer, and he used to do seminars for commercial real estate, and people come in and first thing he teaches them how to figure the cap rate. Okay. And so what is that? Capitalization rate. Okay. So what it is basically what you're making um, minus the expenses, all right, um, times the cap rate. Okay, so there's a cap rate for the area. Okay, and that tells you how much your property is worth. Okay, so the things that you can do to lower your cap rate, all right. Um, so lower your cap rate is the the more profit your business has, making it worth more. That's how commercial real estate's done, right? So he he would offer property management services that might save them money, increase their occupancy, lower their vacancies, uh, you know re rehab the electrical, uh, put in solar, lease a space on your roof for a self cellular repeater, um, all these little things he would talk about. Then he goes to a bunch of properties that they have consulted with, and what they went from to what they are now, and how much they're worth, and then that there's some of them are for sale, and then he offers consulting services. And so there's everybody who's a real estate investor wants to buy these properties. Everybody who owns property, they want them to consult with them or sell their property, right? And so I'm telling her this, and she's just whipping. I'm like, okay, so that's when you come in, all right, and say, okay, this is now you're making all this money. Well, how are you gonna, you know, what most traditionally they do is they buy more property to defer the taxes. Okay, and but you got all this money tied up in real estate, and if you sell it, you get this big capital gains bill you're gonna pay, right? And but you want your money. Okay, well, we have strategies where you can get your money, and pay less in taxes. Okay, so I mean, there's and so when you start describing that, when people have their businesses, any business can have a 401k. Any business can have, owner can have a SEP IRA. If they make enough money, they can do a defined benefit plan, right? And so there's all these different things that people can do to defer their taxes.